A new documentary out this week called The Fall of Minneapolis. It's packed with new information about George Floyd that we weren't allowed to see in the summer of 2020. So our cities could burn and Biden could win. The producer, an award-winning journalist named Liz Collin, sacrificed her career to tell the story. How has your reporting on George Floyd affected you professionally?
I was demoted, lost my position that I had for nearly a dozen years. But really what bothered me most about all of this is that the truth wasn't being told. And, these men and women, Minneapolis really lost the best of the best when it came to its police force. And we've seen this, sadly, all across the country. And they need their voice back. And I hope in a way that this movie can do that.
Since the riots broke out, the Minneapolis police force lost more than 300 cops. They told Collin they were sick and tired of being labeled racist by the Democrats and the press.
Going to work, though, was physically making me ill. It wasn't the flu. It wasn't a cold. It wasn't anything that I could put my finger on. It wasn't something that went away. It was the drive into the city, the knot in my stomach, the I'm going to vomit, I'm going to be sick.
I left the job about a month after the protests. I just couldn't do it anymore.
My father was a police officer. I grew up in Minneapolis. My family was here. I didn't want to leave. It was the hardest thing I ever did in my life.
America's cities were pillaged because Americans were denied the truth. And now we know the truth. For example, we didn't know George Floyd died with a deadly amount of fentanyl in his system, 2 clogged arteries, and COVID-19. We didn't know the FBI held a meeting with the medical examiner before the autopsy changed. Americans also weren't told that Floyd was arrested in 2019 in Minneapolis and had an eerily similar confrontation with police.
In 2020, George Floyd says, "I got shot last time."
Man, I got shot last time. Same way, man.
And you would have been the last officer to arrest George Floyd. Did you shoot him?
No, I didn't shoot him. No. The body camera is out there. It shows exactly what I did, exactly what the other officers did. No, we didn't shoot him.
How was George Floyd acting during that arrest in 2019?
Everything was almost identical. I mean, the initial stop, when I first started to approach him, he was uncooperative. He wasn't listening to my commands. He was very agitated. Just keep your hands up where I can see him. Hey! Let me... Keep your hands where I can see him.
Let me see your hands. Hey, man.
Stay in the car. Let me see your other hand.
The officer from that 2019 arrest of George Floyd, Officer Scott Creighton, joins me now. Officer, what did you pull George Floyd over for then?
It was during a narcotics arrest that we were conducting.
So you pulled him over, you approached the vehicle. What happened?
When I initially approached him, I couldn't see his hands. He was moving around. I believe he was eating narcotics. I repeated commands to see his hands. And then I got him to see his hands, and we ended up with another officer, several officers, my sergeant. We ended up getting him out of the vehicle and handcuffing him.
So you believe that he swallowed some narcotics?
Yes, I believe so. That's the way he was. He was found in possession of narcotics on his person, and there was narcotics found in the vehicle as well during that arrest.
Okay. And so this looks like maybe something that he'd been doing in the past. And after the second arrest, where it ended in a fatality, what did the police force feel?
What was that question again?
How did the police force feel in Minneapolis after that George Floyd death?
After the death, all officers initially were just trying to figure out what happened, but a narrative came out against all the police, especially the officer involved and the officers involved. And then shortly after that, you saw what happened as far as the riots, and then the burning down of the precinct, and then the destruction of the city, and the ultimate protests throughout the city and then throughout the country.
And what was your assessment, officer, of the George Floyd incident in 2020? How did that go down in your opinion?
Well, they set a narrative which was against the police, and that was from Governor Walz to Attorney General Ellison to the Mayor Fry of City of Minneapolis, our own chief, and the media all came against the police in regards to this incident with George Floyd.
All right, well, officer, thank you so much for your service, and it does give us a window into what really went down this documentary. And if you're interested in watching the documentary, again, thefallofminneapolis.com, you can see it there. Thank you so much, and have a